Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we will be making a Hmoob and Hmoob shirt. It uses the same pattern. First of all, lay your pattern down on fabric and cut out the front piece here. If you have it folded over, you'll get two pieces like this. Next step, we're going to trace the darts. Take a piece of tracing paper here and your tracing wheel, and go ahead and trace over the dart lines. You have the fold line that we just completed, and here's the sewing line. Once you trace it over, you'll get markings here. Make sure you do it to both the front pieces. And then we're going to fold it over on the fold line and pin it down so that we can sew down the dart. Your markings are already available, so just go ahead and follow the lines. This part here is a little bit tricky right around the bust, so what you want to do is use one hand to hold where the fold line is and the other hand to pull back the fabric. So you can see my right hand here is holding onto the fabric and the left hand is fixing it as we go. Same on the other side. I like to start up at the bust, use my left hand to fix the fabric, use my right hand to hold down my fold line. Right around the bust tip is the trickiest part where it gets the thinnest. The fabric tends to bunch up, but you can avoid getting any creases by slowly going in through that area and holding back your fabric. So here it is, just follow along the line and you'll get a dart. If you get any puckering, go back and fix it. Then you want to iron it up and repeat the process to lining pieces. Mine are pink here, and you'll get 4 pieces that look like this. In order to finish the front pieces, you'll need to cut out this piece called dandiya, and we're cutting it out on blue here. I folded mine over so that I'll get 2 pieces at once so they're symmetrical. And then what you want to do is lay down your shirt fabric, good side up, lay down the blue dandiya piece, and then lay down your lining, good side down, and then pin it all in place right here at the opening only. Then you want to sew a 1/2 inch line here, right at the pins. Remove pins as you go. Once you have both pieces sewn up, they'll look like this. The trick here is to cut right at the angle here, one cut. And that is so that you can open up your front pieces. Flip the lining over like so. And that way you can iron it down and get a nice seam in the front. If you don't cut, the fabric will bunch up in that corner and you won't be able to flip it over. Once you have them flipped over and ironed, your front pieces will look like this. And then what we're going to do next is you have these raw edges here that need to be sewn down. To do that, we're going to do a 1/4 inch cut here. And then we're going to take a ruler and a piece of tailor's chalk, and we're going to draw in our straight edge here. So to do this, you want to line up your ruler's edge with the edge of the blue on the outside here. Mine's at 2.75 inches. And then it doesn't matter what the raw edge looks like, you're going to create a straight line with the chalk there. Next, you're going to iron along the chalk line here, and that's how you're going to get a nice straight edge. It doesn't matter about the raw edge because what matters here is getting a nice clean iron line right along the tailor's chalk line. After that, you're going to pin it down, and then we're going to take it over to a sewing machine, and you want to sew right along the edge of the blue fabric. Make sure to change your thread to blue so that it blends in. And your result should look like this. Your 2 completed front pieces will turn out looking like this. Lining all on the inside, blue on the outside with the black. Next, we're going to cut out the back of the shirt. You want to fold your fabric over, lay your pattern right on top where the fold line is, pin it down, and then cut it all out. You want to repeat this process to a lining piece of your choice. What we're going to do next is copy over the dart line here. Same process as before. We're going to take a wax piece of tracing paper, place it underneath, take your tracing wheel, copy over the folding line, and then copy over the sewing line. You want to take that and repeat it to the other side. We're just going to flip the pattern over. You can still see it. And then copy over your folding line again, copy over your sewing line. In order to sew it down, what you want to do is pick it up where the fold line is, and then pin it down. And you could see the sewing line popping up here. Repeat to the other side. After you're done pinning, head over to a machine and sew right along the sewing line here. Don't be afraid to go right off the fabric. You'll end up with your back piece looking like this. You want to iron the darts flat and away from the center. So you'll end up with your back piece here, and you want to repeat this process to a lining fabric. Mine's pink. And then what we're going to do is pin around the neck area, and we're going to sew 1/2 inch away from the edge all the way around. To get the corners nice and straight, you want to pick up your foot with the needle still in the fabric and turn the fabric around. This is the tricky part here. You want to cut right up to the angles, but don't cut the thread. And this is again to help you be able to flip your lining all the way over and get nice, neat corners and nice straight lines. You're going to iron it down flat, and here's your back piece. Now we're going to add the pieces. So you're going to have to take the pattern piece, cut out 2 pieces for the back. Here I've cut mine 2 pieces at one time, and then you can see on the pattern piece we have 1/2 inch seam allowances. So I'm going to go in and iron 1/2 inch at the 2 sides, nice and flat, and at the very bottom. The top part won't matter because it'll line up with the raw edge of the shoulder on the shirt pattern. Once you're done ironing, then we're going to pin it down right here like this. And you want to start by pinning the side that lines up with the neck opening. Then we're going to do a top stitch. Make sure you change your thread to blue and remove the pins as you go. Remember to use the foot pickup trick here. Leave your needle in, swerve it around, and then put the foot back down to sew. This is your top stitch. And once you're done, you're going to get your completed back piece that looks like this. And then the final step in order to put our shirt together is to make your sleeves. You're going to fold over your fabric and make sure that you line up the edge, the fold line here with the fold of your fabric. I'm choosing to do 3/4 sleeves, so I folded my pattern over. And once I open it up, I'll get 2 full sleeves. You want to make sure you repeat that process with the lining fabric. And then because I've selected the 3/4 sleeve, I'm also going to select the 3/4 cuff and also cut out 2 of those. Once I've got my sleeve black pieces cut, my lining pieces cut, and my cuff pieces cut, we're going to put down the sleeve, put down a cuff, and then put down a lining piece. And in order to sew it all together, we're going to pin it here where the sleeve opening would be, and we're going to sew a 1/2 inch line right along the edge here, and that'll allow all the pieces to be connected. And then we're going to flip open the lining, and now we have to sew down our cuff piece. So same technique as before, use a ruler, make a straight edge along where the blue meets the pink fabric, and then head over to an ironing board and iron along that chalk line. Then pin it down nice and tight and do another top stitch. Remove pins as you go right along the blue edge. You'll end up with your sleeve like this, nicely pinned down, and then you'll want to flip your lining all the way over this time and iron down the sleeve opening. Here's your completed sleeve. Make sure you repeat this process to the other one. And now we can put together your shirt. To do that, you want to lay down your back piece and then put down your front pieces, lining them up only at the shoulder. The rest of the body does not matter. You want to sew this together using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then you also want to make sure that you serge it so that we're getting rid of the raw edges here. If you don't have a serger, you can use any zigzag patterns on your sewing machine. So here we have our shirt pieces front and back connected at the shoulders. We're going to get rid of just this excess fabric here at the armholes. This is in preparation for inserting our sleeves now. So go ahead and get your pins and your sleeve, and I like to start at the center here so that you can line up the center of your sleeve with the shoulder line. And then you're going to slowly take a little bit of the sleeve at a time and pin it all the way around from one side to the other. There will be some extra space here, as you can see on the screen there, and that is totally okay. That'll be the ease in the shoulders that allow you to move around comfortably. The part that you want flat is the area right in between the needles. That's where you're going to be sewing. So once you have it all pinned together, head over to a machine and sew it down about a 1/2 inch away from the edge. And the fabric will bunch up a little bit. What you want to do is use your right hand to move the fabric back towards the needle, because what the needle and the foot of the sewing machine will do is want to push it towards you and the needles that are pinning it together. So you want to help it stay nice and flat by pulling the fabric back towards the foot and the sewing machine needle. Once you're done sewing, then you can serge the raw edges, and you'll end up with your shirt piece connected all like this. You can see here the sleeves have been inserted, and these are the armholes, and they've also been serged. Now we're going to do the last piece here, connect the shirt together. We're going to do that by matching up the armpit area here and then pinning that down. Then you can pin down your sides, match up the edges of the fabric. And then you can line up your sleeves and the sleeve opening here, and then pin in between. If you end up with extra fabric like I do here, you can go ahead and trim it off now once it's all pinned down. If you do not have extra fabric, that's totally okay. Then you want to sew down from sleeve to the bottom of the shirt using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And then you want to repeat serging right on the edges here. And while you're at it, then you can also serge the bottom of the shirt once you've done the sides. So here's the bottom. You could see that my sides are also all serged up and nice and clean. We have no more raw edges to worry about. And then you can flip your shirt over and you have a completed Mong Du shirt with the angle in the front.